Hey there! Welcome to the Flute 360 podcast. I'm Dr. Heidi Kay Begay, and I'm a flutist, educator, coach, and podcaster. My God-given mission is to serve you. I am passionate about guiding you, the modern-day flutist, to discover your unique voice on and off the stage. The goal of this podcast is to help you thrive, both as an artist and as a musicpreneur. Go ahead and grab some espresso, your favorite notepad, and let's get to it. Today's episode 293 is titled, Heeding Your Calling, Trusting the Process for Unexpected Success. Hey there, 360er. Heidi here, and I'm thrilled to invite you to visit me at booth 226 during NFA 2024 from August 1st through 3rd. Let's connect and chat about how Flute 360 can support your musical journey. Whether you seek personalized one-on-one private lessons or a vibrant community, we've got you covered. There are only 4 private spots left for the 2024 through 2025 academic year, perfect for tailored lessons and coaching. Or join the Flute 360 Accelerator program to grow within a supportive community of flutists. Stop by, grab a coffee, and let's discuss your 360 transformation. Your friends and I are waiting for you. See you at booth 226. Check out the show notes for more details, and see you soon. Y'all, today's episode brings me so much joy to share these different thoughts and perspectives with you. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about today's content. Again, thank you to those amazing 360ers out there who share your life with me through DMs and emails. Keep them coming. If you ever have a topic suggestion or you want to pick my brain about anything, I am always here for you. My email is heidikaybegay@gmail.com. Now, that's my full name. The K is spelled out. So Heidi, K-A-Y, Begay@gmail.com. So now getting into today's topic, I am encouraging you today to really listen at a deeper level. Now, this is really exciting because you are a musician, you are a creative artist and a flutist. So we are trained how to listen to our rhythm, articulation, tone, vibrato, all of these creative choices that we get to choose being a flutist, right? Listening to intonation, matching your ensemble partners, etc. Now, taking that training from listening from your world of being a musician, I'm going to encourage you to bring that deep listening that you do so well and apply it to other areas of your life. Practice it in new and innovative ways, in creative ways that perhaps you haven't thought about before. And specifically, I'm honing in on really having a good ear and putting, this amplification on your heart's ear and listening to what is there for your career path, for your music business, for the relationships of the wonderful people that are in your life. Take the cotton balls out from your ears to really hear where you need to be along your musical journey. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I want you to trust yourself. I want you to really listen deep for the path, for the trajectory, for the direction of your career path that you know to be true. Be authentic with yourself, be genuine with yourself, and be introspective where you can really dial in. And when there are pains and bumps along your flute career or your flute business's path, you can be introspective and self-reflective and go, wait, where am I? Where am I going? I need to reevaluate my path because things are a little topsy-turvy and these events, they're not quite what I had anticipated. And that's okay. So case in point, a lot of 360ers, they're pivoting. You guys are pivoting from these toxic jobs, from these toxic relationships, and moving into a new path for your career and for your business. And yeah, it's really scary. Going through a pivot like that is really hard. But listening to yourself, listening to what God has put on your heart for your calling, for your mission, for the things that get you excited, you need to be honest and true and genuine and authentic to that calling to the best of your ability. Now, that's going to take you, the modern day flutist, to really be introspective and look in and listen to what that calling is. You know what it is, right? But sometimes we question it. Sometimes it gets a little muddy, right? Because life happens. And then we kind of question ourselves. Well, I'm not quite here in my career just yet. Is this even for me? This job or this position through said orchestra, right, isn't panning out on the timetable that I foresaw for myself. So is it even going to happen? And then we doubt. We have questions around it. But going back to your why, going back to your passion, going back to who you are is so imperative so you can hear God's calling and God's leadership from one point to the next, whether it's for your artistic growth, your career path, or your personal growth. So this idea of deep listening, okay? We're going to go deeper on your listening skills. Now, as a believer, I can only point you to what I know to be true and what I know that has worked for me in the past and currently works for me today. Now, I'm not perfect. I want to give you that disclaimer. I am an imperfect being, okay? But thank God for his son. Thank God for Jesus for giving us his amazing gift of salvation. So if you're hearing this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, Heidi, how the heck do I even begin to hear God's voice and his calling over my life? Where do I start? I hear you. It's not easy. But just like going to the gym and building muscle and strengthening through weight training, mobility exercises, stability exercises, you can over time begin to flex that muscle and train it up to lift that weight. It is a practice. It's not just something that's given to you. Well, it can be, but you have to nurture it. You have to actually walk alongside God day in and day out to nurture that muscle of listening to his voice and discerning whether it is from him or not. Now, if you have questions about this on a deeper level, you can always DM me or email me, okay? But just a quick bullet point list. There's more here, but I'm just going to give you a quick, not a laundry list, but you know what I mean. I don't want to leave you high and dry where you're like, you didn't really answer my question. Some things, that scripture talks about, they talk about, being in the Bible, being in his word. That's how you will hear God's voice. Fasting, praying, meditating on his word. These are all tools in your toolbox to be able to discern whether it is his voice or not. So that's the foundation, the groundwork that I want to give you. And the reason why I'm getting so personal and so jazzed up about this is because when you are lost on your career path or in your flute playing, or whether it's college, graduate school, do I go back and get my doctorate? Do I start up that business? life gets messy. It is so freaking hard sometimes, guys. I know it. I've been in the weeds with you from day one. And quite frankly, I'm I'm in my own weeds too, right? We all have baggage. We all get to experience this wonderful life together. So it is so challenging sometimes to know when is the right time to pivot. When is the right time to pick up and say, okay, I'm going to move 1 or 2 degrees of a direction here or there. I get it. So for me, the thing that I'm always, shouting out, from the top of the rooftops to my clients and students is, have you heard his voice? What is he calling you to do? And again, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I can only give you what I know to be true, what I know to have worked for countless of musicians all across the globe. So here's an example, right? How do I know when to pivot from my toxic job into my flute studio business? How do I know which graduate school I attend? Do I move to LA? Do I move to Louisiana? Do I move to New York or Texas? These are huge decisions you guys are making because your time, energy, and investment, and also monetarily investment, right? Not just your energy or your time, but these resources are finite and you are taking it seriously. And the thing that has helped me time and time and time again is standing on God's rock. So, what are you called to do? Has He placed a book that He wants you to write? And perhaps maybe you keep putting it on the back burner. Has He called you to produce and record an amazing flute album, a small chamber concert, a gigging tour, more students in your flute studio? What is He calling you to do? Not what you think other people want you to do, not what you think your parents want you to do. What has He called you to do? Because if you can hear that message loud and clear, then I'm telling you what, there is clarity, there's like light on your path, and not to sound really like, nerdy or whatever, but it's like the heavens literally part and it's like the clouds part and go, here's your direction. Here is the path I want you to take. And there is so much joy and there's so much relief and clarity with those answers. And that's what I want for you. Okay? So carve out the time to hear God's voice. Be okay with being in a space of silence. A lot of our, Western civilization, if you live in parts of the country, where it is go, 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 it is difficult sometimes, at least for me, it's difficult sometimes to just sit and listen and be reflective. I have a specific chair, well, two specific chairs in my house where I get to do that. One's in the front foyer of my house where my flute parents come in and sit as they wait for their son or daughter's lesson to be over. It's this really beautiful, it's actually really Flute 360-esque. It's this beautiful teal blue color. It's comfy. I love it. I get to sit there with my foot pom-pom or whatever it's called, put my feet up and journal in my iPad notebook. The other chair is this beautiful gray chair that I got years and years and years ago. I forget where, but it sits in the corner of our bedroom. And it's really nice. It has this built-in recliner. I get to, be a lazy boy or lazy girl and kick back my feet and sit and stare at a wall, usually, or at a cat. But I get to sit in silence and be reflective and spend time with God in that way. And the reason why I'm encouraging you to do this is because I don't want you to fret. There's no reason to do this alone. If he can give you that clarity, then you're going to be that much closer, one step closer towards your goal. An example of this, I will take it from my own life. An example of this for me is, the last few years, once I pivoted and didn't see 360 anymore as this continued dissertation research, right? Because you guys remember that Flute 360 actually started off as my DMA thesis. And now it literally is my business. I never saw that coming. Never in a million years. But I'm so thankful for this opportunity. So when I was pivoting a few years ago and I said, no, this is my bona fide business, guess what? I learned a lot of hard lessons along the way. Nobody taught me originally how to act and function as a businesswoman. That's something I had to learn. I really felt like I got thrown in the deep end and I had to learn how to swim for the very first time in 12-foot, 15-foot waters. That's not fun. A lot of water got into my mouth. Okay. And I was flapping my arms, and I still do from time to time. It feels like if you go back to the episode that I did with Fluter Scooter, Andrea Fisher, it literally feels like an airplane that you are building for the very first time. And the airplane is not completely built just yet. And it's flying. It's like a quarter of an airplane. This machine is not really quite functioning, but it's flying and you are still building it and still throwing chairs and hammering, and it's a scary feeling. It's like everything should be put together, then I fly. No. Being a business person is opposite. You are flying an unfinished vehicle. Okay, so I digress. So when I pivoted into being this businesswoman, I will be frank with you. I tried to do the CEO thing on my own terms and in my own way. And what God has been showing me as of lately is He's the CEO. He's the owner of Flute 360. I get to manage it to the best of my ability. Now I'm going to fall, and I'm going to fall a lot because I'm imperfect, but that's okay. God, always shows His mercy on all of us because He knows we're imperfect, okay? And He's okay with that. But He wants us to rely on Him. In our weakness is His strength. And that's my testimony. So by trying to do the CEO thing on my own and in my own strength, I was not measuring up. I did not see the fruits to my labor. Then lately, He's been really encouraging me and lovingly saying, hey, how about I be the captain of the ship and you be a sailor? Now, you are an important sailor. It's not to diminish your role in this capacity, but let me be king of the business. And by giving Him the reins and by carving out time to be silent and to hear His voice, do you know what's happening? He's giving me these amazing business instructions that I would have never thought of in a million years. That's how I know that it's His direction and His voice and not mine. For example, if you've noticed, right, I was really sporadic with podcast episodes for 2024. And a lot of that is because of the healing and the rehab journey that I've been going through. But these past 2 weeks, I've been putting out an episode a week. Why? Because He asked me to. I was on a walk going around our home development, and He put on my heart. I was just walking in silence. And air quote, out of nowhere, I heard from God, podcast once a day. Do you know what my bratty reaction was? Are you kidding me? That's literally what I said to Him. Talk about being imperfect. And I thought about it more. I prayed more on it because I really wanted to make sure that it came from Him. And I told my husband, Eric, about it. And he said, yeah, that sounds about right. And I know why he said that. And we can talk about that later. But it was confirmed. It was validated by my husband, who said, yeah, that sounds about right. And he had reasons for that statement. And sure enough, I put it off for a while, not too long, but actually I was gung-ho and I dove right into that calling right off the bat. I was obedient to the best of my ability. And by just showing up and being obedient, do you know what he did in return? In just 2 short weeks, he already gave me 2 new flute students for my studio. I mean, come on. That's amazing. And all the glory goes to him. So I encourage you to be obedient with your calling. He will show up for you, whether it is towards your artistic goals, your business goals, your school year goals. I don't care. Listen to his voice, listen to what he's putting on your heart, and try to be as obedient as possible. Now, here's an example of me not being obedient so you can see where my faults are. And that specifically is, he's been calling me to write a couple different books, actually. Books on infertility, books on being unemployed. And those are 2 different subjects and 2 different titles that he has put on my heart now for years, y'all. Seriously, years. And I've been so disobedient, and shame on me. But that's okay. He's understanding. All right? I have literally journals and heaps of diary papers for the infertility book that I could spit out right now if I really wanted to. But I keep putting it off. I keep saying, who would read that? Will I have the right words? Will it come together the way I had envisioned in my mind? How do I organize it? And yes, these are real details, but if you really peel back these layers like an onion, they're excuses. So I just want to show you and be very vulnerable, honestly, and show you a place where I am lacking and where I am not being obedient. What book has he asked you to author? Is there an amazing flute pedagogy concept that you want to share with the world? Are there newly commissioned flute works for flute and, in a woodwind quintet setting that you want to commission said composer and put it into your new concert series? Is there a summer flute camp that you want to put together? Is there something where you want to merge and marry your 2 passions in life together? Like that example that I gave last week about the sciences, medical research, and the music world. Do you want to put together your compositions with electronics and flute together, but you think, who would listen to that? I think those are attacks from the enemy, quite frankly, because he is trying to divert your attention away from your true calling of the things that are good and pure that God has put on your heart. So yeah, there's a lot to think about here. You may need to, rewind, replay this episode again, and unpack a lot of these concepts that I just threw your way. And the last example I want to give you to leave on more of an uplifting note, and that is he also called Eric and I to start a podcast for Red House Productions, my sister company. And he called us to do and produce a podcast for RHP about a year ago. I put it off. Lots of excuses. We don't have time. Eric's an introvert. He doesn't want to come onto the microphone. All of the excuses. We finally sat down this year, did it, and we only have 7 episodes out. And just like that, new clients are coming our way. Come on, you guys. Do you see that? And just us taking imperfect steps. They're going to be messy steps. They're not going to be perfect, and that's okay. But being obedient to what he's calling you to do is imperative. Not only for just the mere fact of being obedient, right, to your Lord, but showing up for yourself and for others. Your clients and students and the people who haven't even found you yet, they are craving your music, your teachings, your expertise, and your work. You are depriving them of enjoying your work. You don't want to do that to a friend, right? So, yeah, I'm really stoked about this topic. I'm so glad that I pulled out the microphone and just purged all of this information into your earbuds. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, I'm always here for you. Please join our Facebook Flute 360 family group. It's a private group where we talk about the real stuff on a weekly basis. Check out the show notes, check out the links, and until next time. And that's a wrap for today's episode. Don't forget to visit me at booth 226 during NFA 2024 from August 1st through 3rd to chat about your musical journey. Whether you're seeking personalized one-on-one lessons or a supportive community, Flute 360 has something for you. Mark your calendars for Sunday, August 4th, 2024 at 9:45 a.m. Join Natalie Simper, Sokyung Park, and myself for an empowering CEO presentation. We're diving into how to lead your business and career, blaze your own trail, and overcome imposter syndrome. Plus, stick around for our live Q&A to get your questions answered. And don't miss out on our Flute 360 raffle opportunity at booth 226. Amazing swag and merchandise and offerings await one lucky winner. Enter by August 3rd at 4 p.m. Let's make this NFA unforgettable. Let's talk about Flute.